Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with our Caitlyn basic guide. So Caitlyn has the longest base attack range of any champion in the game, not just ADCs. Of course, this base attack range is the longest at the start of the game, but she does get outraged by Jinx and Tristana in the late game. But even so, Caitlyn is known for her oppressiveness in the laning phase because of the fact she has the longest range in the entire game. She's able to auto-attack the enemies in lane when they cannot auto-attack her, of course owing to that long range, and with the help of both her basic attacks and her Q, normally can easily shove enemies under tower, put traps and trap them under the tower, and consistently make it such that they have trouble collecting even a single CS. She also scales very well into the late game, becomes a late game hyper carry that can carry your team in the later stages of the game. Although like Tristana, she has a mid game power truffer, she isn't very strong in the mid game unless she is ahead. So anyways, let's jump straight into the practice tool and talk a little bit about Caitlyn's skills. Okay, so first off, we're going to talk about Caitlyn's passive. So Caitlyn's passive is hit shot. So basically, pretty simple. Every auto attack, you're going to charge up your hit shot bar. So here you can see I attack this dummy. You can see that I got one stack underneath me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on my 6th attack, I have my hit shot ready. So when I shoot the dummy, I do extra damage from my hit shot. Now if I'm in a bush, this stacks doubly fast. So 2, 4, 6 hit shot, 2, 4, 6 hit shot. So there are other ways to hit shot that we'll get into a little bit later, but for now that is basically her passive. So let's gain a couple levels. So our first ability is going to be the Piltover Peacemaker. It's just a straight line skill shot that can hit multiple enemies. So we're gonna actually put out a couple more dummies here. So when you launch it, it's going to be a narrow version at first like this, like what you can see here. But when you hit an enemy, it's actually going to spread out and become longer range. So here you guys can see I'm going to hit this first dummy here. When I hit him, you can see it's like it spread its wings and it's now like an eagle basically. Whereas in this version, it's not. So you can, of course, as I mentioned, hit multiple enemies like this. Boom. And you can see that the second and third guy takes less damage. You can see the first guy takes 111 and the next few take only 67. So you do take less damage every consecutive enemy you hit, which of course does make sense because otherwise you know, it's going to be way too much damage. So her second ability is going to be her traps. So you can see that it's a really small trap. So what you can do is you can put down a trap. It takes like half a second or a second to prime, and when people step into it, they're going to get rooted and they're going to be able to be hit shot. So here, to demonstrate, I'm going to trap this guy. You can see, boom, he can actually get hit shot. And this hit shot is a special hit shot that, unlike your normal auto attack hit shot, you can hit shot him from a very long range away. So for example, you can see here, I can hit shot him all the way from over here, but my auto attack range is only over here. So if someone randomly runs into your trap, you can attack them from a long ways away. So that is her second ability. Now the second ability is visible to all enemies, so when you put it down, everybody can see it. You know, it's not invisible, not like Jin trap or anything like that. And next up we have her E. So her E is a short dash at the same time launching a net. So basically you can see I launch a net over there and at the same time I have a short dash. I believe the net actually slows. Yeah, 50% slow. So here, you know, this allows you to it, you know, of course knocks you back. So now there's a few use cases for this. The first one is to get over walls. So this actually allows you to jump over walls. The second one is to chase down enemies. So for example, if I'm running after these guys, I can actually use it in the opposite direction to actually get close and try to fight them. But the third use case is actually using it to net an enemy. So for example, if I'm getting chased, I can actually net this guy and you know he's going to get slowed. Secondly, he's also going to be able to get hit shot. So as you guys saw there, you get the special hit shot again where you get the bonus range like that. And you're able to, of course, hit shot them like that. Alright, so finally it's Caitlyn's ult. So Caitlyn's ult has a massive range. Basically what you do is you lock onto a target and you do missing health, percent missing health damage. So basically, if you guys read the description here, you deal physical damage equal to 224 plus 20% of missing health. So this is basically normally used to execute enemies. So normally you get people really low, and then you can use your ulti to actually, you know, just kill them. However, you guys can see I'm targeting this first guy here. It's able to hit him. But if I were to target the guy behind him, for example, it can actually be blocked. So you can see I actually end up hitting the first guy instead of the guy behind. So it can be blocked by allies, and that line is something that everybody can see. So the tanks can easily step in front and block for their squishies. So that is going to be, of course, something that you want to take note of. Okay, so now with the skills out the way, we can talk about our leveling order. So on level 1, you generally want to take Q. On level 2, you can take either W or E, but most of the time you take E so that you have an easy way to proc your headshot in lane. Then, of course, you take whichever spell you didn't take at level 2. You max your Q first, of course, taking out whenever available. You max your W second. And you max your E last. So that's basically it for leveling order. Pretty standard, no two ways about it. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Caitlyn combos. So Caitlyn does have a couple of combos, mainly, of course, revolving around her headshots. So the first combo is Trap into Q. So you guys remember that when you Q through someone, they're gonna take like less damage, right? So here, if you actually put a trap, they're not gonna take less damage. So if we take a look here, let me actually make it a little bit more obvious here. Let me remove the dummies first. Then let me just put 2 dummies and put them a little ways apart. So let me just put another dummy right here. So you can see that on the first dummy, it's doing 209, and second one it does 106. But what you may not know is if you put a trap on them, they're actually going to take full damage. So for example, that guy is trapped. Here you can see they both take 209 damage. So the first combo is simply simply trap into Q. Now what do I mean? I don't mean literally putting the trap on there. I mean, like, for example, if you're in the lane, and let's say you put a trap here, they walk straight into the trap like a fool, then you can actually just walk up, straight up, just Q them, and then auto. So the first one is when they step into a trap, you walk up, Q, auto. It's that simple. So that's the first one. Assuming that they walk into a random trap, you have to, you know, of course, take time to walk up to them. You can't do other combos. If they happen to be like close to you, there's another combo you can do, which is when they walk into your trap, you can actually E then Q. So for example, they walk into your trap like this. You can E and then Q, and then of course you got 2 headshots, so you auto. So this does a ton of damage. Of course, when they walk into a trap near you, once again, you E. Of course you Q, then you auto for the double headshot, and of course you double headshot at the end because there's really long range on the double headshot. So you want to ensure that in the time that they're trapped, they can't move. So when they're trapped, you instantly want to, you know, land your EQ, which basically means there's no way that they can dodge it because they're rooted, and then you can land your double auto after they come out of the root. So that is pretty much the highest damage combo because it uses all 3 of your abilities except for this one. So this is the triple headshot combo. Now this one allows you to headshot someone 3 times in a row. Of course, to do this, you first have to have your normal auto attack headshot primed. And then you basically do that previous combo, but you auto an extra time. So they walk into a trap. You basically do the same thing, and then you headshot them like 3 times. Of course, you don't actually have to queue because you don't have that much time. Because don't forget that the initial headshot does require you to be in auto attack range because that's your normal auto attack headshot, not one of your special ones. So instead of doing Q, you could instead actually just trap E, auto for like all you know, all of those headshots, and yeah, that could definitely work out. Of course, you could also mix in your Q depending on how much time you have, depending on how many enemies are close by. If you have a chain CC from your support, it's sort of like a play-by-ear situation where you have to kind of determine how much time you have to execute the combo, to kind of, you know, to kind of decide on which combo you want to use, how much CC you have, and like what's your range from the enemy at the current state when they walk into your trap. Most of your combos start off with the enemy walking into your trap. If the trap is not there, basically the only real combo you can do is like EQ auto, but that's like kind of a really slow combo. It's really easy to dodge. Like they can dodge either your E or your Q, so it's not very reliable, but it still kind of works. So now finally, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips and tricks. So the first tip and trick is a kind of a lane one. This is something that most people should know, but you can actually use the minions to actually spread out your Q. So when you hit the minions, you can see, for example, I'm not going to hit this guy. He's not really in my range, but when I hit through the minions, it's going to actually expand and allow me to actually hit him. So once again, you can see he's out of my range. This is going to expand the Q and allow him to get hit. Of course, this also means that he's going to take less damage because the minions took the brunt of the damage. He's going to take less. Of course, if he gets trapped, then you can of course do that and allow him to take the full damage possible. And yeah, so queuing through the minions is going to be your first kind of tip and trick. So next up is your W usage. So there's, in my opinion, three main uses of your W. So the first use of your W is on tower. So when you shove an enemy under tower, I'm actually going to go over to the top lane tower, because in the ADC role, you're not going to be in the mid lane. So here, for example, you're under this tower. Let me give myself the invincibility. So if you shove them under tower, your best trap spot is going to be here, in between the tower and the wall. Why? Because if they're in the tower here, they can't walk back through here. So if they want to walk back to get out of your auto attack range, they have to walk all the way across and all the way back. Which leads me to your next spot, which is probably going to be here, and then here. And normally in lane you only have 2 to 3 traps, so this is generally the max you can do. But if you're like in the late game, you can literally trap across one entire tower with all 5 of your traps, and literally they cannot walk past this tower. There's no way across. Now of course your traps are gonna expire after a while, but yeah, it's literally just like that. They literally cannot walk across. So the next tip I have for you guys on using your traps is to put them at the edges of bushes. Now in case you guys didn't know, the trap doesn't actually give vision in the bush. So for example, if I put a dummy here and I put a trap here, it doesn't give me vision of the dummy in the bush. It's not like the Jin trap. I have to actually warp the bush to be able to see him. But a trick that you can do is actually to put a trap at the edge of the bush. And why do you do this? Well, it's pretty simple. For example, I can actually just put a trap right here. Enemy doesn't know it's there. So if they're, for example, walking out of the tower, they want to walk into the bush, they're going to walk straight into the trap and eat a free headshot to the head, and it's a really easy way to get multiple free headshots. And finally, it's using traps at objectives. So for example, this is going to be like the dragon or the herald. So here, it kind of depends on where the enemy team is coming from. You can generally see on the minimap either through wards or just through general vision where they're coming from. You generally want to trap where they're coming from. So for example, if they're coming from this side, like the top side, then when you're doing, you want to kind of trap the top side. So with your 5 traps, you normally can lay out a trap line where basically makes it impossible for them to walk across. You can do the same on this side. You can only have 5 traps active at one go. So if you put more than 5, they're going to deactivate the other traps. But in a real game, this is very unlikely. Like that. So now the last possibility is they come from this choke point, which is, of course, if for example your red side and their blue side, they're gonna obviously come from here. So then your trap line can be right here, where you can easily trap across. I believe with 4 traps should be enough. You can easily trap across with 4 traps, and they're gonna have to, instead of walking right through here, they're gonna have to go the long way around, and they're gonna have to go like all the way over here, and then they have to come up through here. And yeah, so finally we have one last tip for you guys, which is using your ult to get free assists. So, what you may not know is your ult, you can see it takes a while to channel. So you can see it here, it takes 2 seconds to like fire off. And in that 2 seconds, if this target dies because of your teammates, you actually get a free assist just for locking onto that guy. It's going to be on a 5-second cooldown. Your ult's going to be on a 5-second cooldown afterwards. So you don't actually lose out on your ult. Like, you're not putting it on full cooldown, but if your bullet is in the air already, for example, now when it's in the air already and they die, it's going to go on full cooldown. So you kind of just wasted it. So normally, I only do this when they're like 1 HP. I'm going to just quickly lock on and my teammate kills and then I get a free assist. And that's always something that, you know, is good. So that's it for the Caitlyn basic guide. Stay tuned for the Caitlyn updated complete guide coming out tomorrow. Thanks for watching the video and goodbye.